Okay, and welcome to the Six Nations prediction special of the Rugby Codebreakers,
where we could look like complete looks even more than usual.
Yeah, absolutely. In just a few short weeks, we'll look like, well, we'll be exposed as the complete idiots we know we are.
Yeah.
Years of expertise in knowledge of gained by watching rugby is going to be shown to be worthless.
Yep.
So how are we going to do this? I've worked out what I think will be the definitive placings.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I reckon teams will finish. I think we ought to work from the bottom up.
Yeah, it seems best, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So for my sixth place, though I hate to do it, because A, because I don't want it to be true, and B, because it seems so lazy, but I've got to say Italy.
Yeah. There are some bright spots for Italy. I agree with you, by the way. My number 6 is also Italy. They beat Australia in the winter. Good signs. So potential progress. The under-20s for Italy have been doing really well. They beat both Scotland and Wales, I believe, over the summer.
Yeah, that's true.
So the future is looking bright. Yeah. I don't know if they've got. They're not quite in a place where if they get France at home, they might fancy turning them over, in the same way that the Scots will always fancy turning the English over at home as well.
Yeah, and I think Italy have got France away in this year's tournament. I think that's on Sunday. That's their first game, though. They have gone to Paris and won before, haven't they?
Yeah.
Amazingly.
I do fancy them to beat Wales, but I don't think they'll lift themselves out of the basement.
No, I agree. I wouldn't rule them out taking a scalp or two, but I don't think they will win more than one game. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if they lost all 5.
Yeah, it depends entirely which Italy turns up and for how much of the match.
Yeah, I think. So moving on from Italy, I think for my 5th place, this is where I found it got really hard this year. I'm going to say I think the teams that I've picked for 3rd through 5th could easily finish in any order. But I'm going to say Wales.
Again, great minds think alike or fools seldom differ. I'm going with the Welsh in a period of reconstruction to finish 5th as well.
Yeah, I did read in the Guardian's predictions today, somebody predicting them to win the championship. They were saying Warren Gatland back with experienced players, and I thought, well, those experienced players haven't done a lot for them lately, and I don't think Gatland will have had the time to make the necessary impact.
No. For me, 4th and 5th could easily be the other way around, in the same way that 3rd and 4th could potentially be the other way around. But I don't think 5th and 3rd could be the other way around, if you see what I mean.
Sure, yeah, fair enough. So who you got 4th then?
4th, I have got the English.
Ah, okay.
I was a little concerned when I saw that the Calcutta Cup is being played at Twickenham, but I feel that England will drop another game elsewhere to put them below the Scots.
It's interesting because I'm putting Scotland 4th, but again, without a great deal of certainty, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Scotland do outperform the English, and indeed if they were to knock them off at Twickenham on Saturday. But I just feel there's going to be a little bit of new coach bounce for England.
7 changes for Scotland. 1 new cap for England in the forwards.
Yeah.
No Tuilagi. He's not even in the squad, I believe.
Yeah, that was an interesting selection, a bold selection decision, especially given that England have lost quite a few players through injury. So choosing one out who played more than the autumn is experienced is a big call, but
and England Also, continuing with the two number 10s theory, which seems weird to go. Farrell and Smith both.
Yeah. I was interested to see what would happen there. I did wonder if Borthwick would decide to change that dynamic, but he's I don't know, maybe he feels continuity is more important at this stage. I just feel like for Gatland coming into Wales, I think the danger is there that his experienced players, they'll all remember playing for him. They'll know what he wants, but that might mean that they're a little bit comfortable. Whereas I think because it's a genuine sort of new coach, new assistants, new broom for England, I think a lot of the players will be fired up to say, this is World Cup year. Eddie Jones might have liked me, but I can't be certain that will get me my place in the team. So I think there might be a bit of a bounce, as I say.
The only thing that I think may counter the new coach bounce is the sheer scale of the injuries to the England side. They're on their third or fourth choice players in a number of positions, and they've lost a lot of experience.
Yeah, can't be ruled out. And that is why, although I've put Scotland fourth, I've only put England third. New coach bounce or not, I don't see it enough to make them challenge for the championship.
Yeah, I've gone for Scotland at 3 because I think we've got some good momentum coming in. Still a little erratic, and that's why I'm not putting them into the top 2, even with my most blue tinted glasses on.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, as I say, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if we get to Saturday at Twickenham and Scotland retain the Calcutta Cup. So I think Scotland, as you say, they've come off a pretty good autumn. Yeah, it's. I think England are going to be really fired up for that match, but so are the Scots. The Scots know that's the perfect way to start the campaign, isn't it? If they can win at Twickenham.
To be fair, there's still the mentality that if the Scots win at Twickenham, their whole rest of the championship is a free hit.
Yeah. I wonder though. I'm not sure internally, at least. I don't think that will be the attitude. I think for the Scots, it'll be if the win at Twickenham will be launch pad, and now we have to really make this Six Nations count.
That a win at Twickenham will, I think, on the inside the Scottish setup, will make them think we've actually got a shot at this.
Yeah. And I think that's the attitude you've got to have. If you, you don't want to be playing just to make up the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the Scots are now, I think they've moved on from being a team that on their day will beat anyone. I think they will expect to beat most teams and have the capacity to upset the big boys from time to time.
Yeah,
I would love it if I would have loved it if they'd got past New Zealand at home in the autumn. But that would have been a real statement win for them. They still fall away a bit, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So that means we've both picked the same top 2.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of which all of and to be honest, I thought as a top 2, it's very, very hard to see past. As I say, it's hard to see any of the other 4 really troubling these 2 for the championship. I've gone for France in second.
I've gone for France in second as well. The Les Bleus is still a little bit erratic. I haven't seen enough of them in terms of consistency to think they're going to repeat as champions. Incidentally, I don't think there's going to be a slam this year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. I think if either Ireland or France were to do a slam, that'd be a pretty tremendous run in this year's tournament. Having said that, France, of course, didn't drop a game in 2022. They won the slam, and then they won all their autumn internationals. But they didn't necessarily play all the best teams.
I forgot to check this match in the schedules. Are they playing in Dublin or Paris against the Irish?
It's in Dublin. that's the other thing that decided me on giving the nod to Ireland. I thought that home advantage will just see the Irish over the line.
Cements my choice of the Irish. Also, Johnny Sexton's last hurrah in the Six Nations.
I was appalled to discover today, to remind myself that he is 37 years old. I was saying to a co-worker, I've really only just got used to the idea of not thinking of him as a young pretender to Ronan O'Gara's shirt.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like Ronan O'Gara wore that shirt for so long. But actually, of course, Sexton has gone further in, basically every way.
Any moment now, Craig Patterson's replacement will be retiring. It's terrible.
Yes, it's interesting to think that with someone like Sexton, that quite literally seen his entire career, and it's funny, you think back, and I remember when he was first sort of breaking into the team, and O'Gara would play like 60 minutes, and they'd find some game time for Sexton towards the end, and people would, at the time, understandably, because he was a young player, but genuinely questioning whether he would be able to fill those boots. And now you look back and think that was such a ridiculous thing to worry about.
Of course he is. He's actually turned out to being better than Ronan O'Gara.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably got a better all-round game. I think Ronan O'Gara was a terrific fly half in the classic mode of safety first northern hemisphere fly halves. The man who will do the job is expected.
Nothing special, running and ball in hand.
Exactly. Dead-eye goal kicker. And will play the percentage kick and get it right most of the time. But as you say, not a devastating runner take on the line.
Yeah.
Sexton just seems to have more to his attacking game than Ronan had or showed. Because sometimes you think with players in those pivot positions, sometimes it's also about how they're coached and what their coaches want from them. So, Ronan O'Gara might be watching this and going, hey, I was a great runner. They just didn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
We had Brian O'Driscoll for that.
So you don't reckon there's going to be a slam? I don't reckon there's going to be a slam. Who do you think is going to really shine in this tournament?
I think it's going to be older players for the most part. I think it's going to be veterans like Sexton who are going to come to the fore, probably because the Six Nations is so demanding of teams, because there's so much pressure on almost every match. That said, there'll probably be a few bolters from the fringes who will maybe, especially maybe with a team like England where so many players are out injured, there is a chance for some players to make a real name for themselves. It'd be interesting to see how Owen Farrell responds to this championship when he's probably under a bit more threat for his place than he has been for a very long time.
I'll be intrigued to see how the new darling of Welsh rugby gets on in Rhys Samet.
Yeah, absolutely. Be interested to see how Alan Wynne-Jones does. He keeps going on. I felt like he's not quite the force he was in the last year or so.
Yeah. Is he going to have fallen off the cliff of quality by now?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Or is he going to lift himself for one last effort in a World Cup year, which is obviously going to be his last chance to do that. Maybe he'll pick himself up and go out in a blaze of glory. But there's potential stars in every team. We've seen Finn Russell as well.
Yeah. Finn Russell and Van der Merwe would be the other one I'm looking for great things for.
Yeah.
He's promised a lot, and he's a great try scorer, and he really needs to kick on it and score 3, 4, 5 tries in the tournament.
Yeah. What's interesting, last year, I think only about 50% of the games were decided by more than one score. And I can see that again as well. A lot of There could be games with a lot of scores in them,
Mm.
but they will be both sides.
So unfortunately, I do think this means a lot of heartbreak for Italy.
Yeah, I think it's likely. As I say, I wouldn't be at all surprised. I've tipped them for bottom, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's a wooden spoon with no wins again. But coming close to a few, they're not going to be pushovers for people.
I think they'll be close enough to, in terms of the score in this champion. It might get blown out once, but I think they'll be close enough that people will not be going, "Why are they even in the tournament this year?"
Yeah, yeah, and I think if there is a slam, although I'm picking Ireland for the championship, I feel like France are more likely to do a slam.
So to hedge the bet slightly, in either an Irish championship or a French slam.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I just feel like, yeah, France would have to win away from home in Ireland to do that. I feel like I could see that happening, but
It's generally France playing in Ireland and Twickenham, isn't it?
yeah, I think. But Ireland and France are both, I think, they'll both be seeing this tournament as reinforcing their claim to be the best side in the world in World Cup year. That's what they want. Ireland are ranked number one, and they'll be saying we are the best team in the world. France will be saying we went unbeaten last year. We are the best team in the world.
And again, it'll be interesting to see how the Irish deal with the weight of expectation. As world number ones, they've got to come in as the bookie's favourite.
Yes, that's true. And Ireland are used to probably being second or third favourites more often, not having such expectation. So we'll heap some pressure on them ourselves.
Yeah, they'll pay that much attention to our pick of them for champions sans slam.
I would imagine that will probably be the only prediction that they'll pay any attention to at all.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm expecting a great championship.
Yes.
I'm more excited about it than I have been for some time, especially for this Calcutta Cup match this coming Saturday. And
it does feel weird to me though, starting with the Calcutta Cup.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit for England and Scotland fans. It's a bit odd, perhaps, to say, "Oh, we're going to have that at the beginning." I'd like to build up to it.
Finale, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there were years gone by where the leading with the Calcutta Cup as a Scotland fan would have made me go, "Oh, that's not going to go well." But I'm coming into this going, we've got an even chance, if not better. We've got form and momentum on our side, and the English look weak, which of course is probably when they're most dangerous.
Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? As I say, I'm looking for a new coach bounce, which may not be there at all. It might be just England looked so erratic last year. That could continue. Interesting to see that people have said, in terms of the championship itself, no plans to expand or change it anytime soon. There'll be no plans to drop Italy, no plans to bring anyone in, and certainly no plans to bring in a sort of promotion relegation dynamic or to move it away from this time of year. So
I think this is the best time of year for it.
Yeah,
and I might be tempted by a promotion relegation playoff, but just the talk may motivate Italy.
Yes, I would. If I was looking at that, I'd want 4 or 5 countries in the mix to do that, and I'd say let's run a second tier, 4 or 5 nations, whatever, and run it for a couple of years without any promotion or relegation.
Yeah,
but maybe not at exactly the same time of year, maybe in the summer or something, during the off season. But throw in teams like Georgia, Spain, Romania, whoever would be interested, and just see how that tournament works. And if it looks then viable that could be Division 2 of the Six Nations, then
If you're just going to go with the Northern Hemisphere, you could throw the USA in there as well.
That's true. That's true. USA would be a shout, and you never know. You might pick up some Southern Hemisphere sides that would be interested. I wouldn't be at all surprised if someone like Tonga or Fiji would put their hands up and say, "Well, we're not going to be putting the Rugby Championship anytime soon." So,
I've heard Japan suggested.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Japan would be a great shout. I think if we did a second tier for it at the moment, Japan would walk it. So
the only thing that counts against them is the jet lag flight time.
Yeah.
Which you could
and it's not
say
great
also counts against the States.
It's not a great look for carbon neutrality either in this day and age. But yeah, logistically it would take some working out. Because it also, if you do it during the season, then you've got releasing players not just to play internationals, but to go halfway around the world to do it. If you do it, but no one's going to want to move the Six Nations. As you said, I think this is the best time of year for it. The summer internationals are always sort of like friendlies, really, unless it's a Lions tour. There's never quite the same mustard on a summer tour, I feel, as there is on the Six Nations or the Autumn Series.
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted the Northern Hemisphere sides to tour down under properly.
Yeah.
Do the whole club sides midweek games and everything.
Yeah, do it like a Lions tour.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah,
there we go.
So
we have said what we think.
Disagree with us vehemently in the comments, please.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Let us know who you think should be the second tier of the Northern Hemisphere nations.
Yeah, absolutely. Be interested to see how that goes, if it ever goes. Some of there are teams that need more regular competitive internationals, but it's difficult to add to the Six Nations as it stands, or the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, more than Six Nations, and it becomes unwieldy, I think.
Yeah, especially taking place during the season, that just gets harder and harder as a sell to clubs. But we love the Six Nations.
Yeah.
And we can remember when it was the Five Nations, and the sort of, should we be bringing Italy in? Should we don't want to change it, but with the Five Nations has so much tradition. But then you think, go back far enough, and it was the home nations.
Yeah.
And bringing France in was considered revolutionary at one time. So
who would have thought the French would be revolutionary?
Yeah, that's a ring to it. Anyway, great to catch up with you as always.
Yeah.
Next time we two meet, it will be as enemies at Twickenham. Yeah. All the best, everyone. Enjoy the rugby and let us know what you think. Cheers.